So today, we're going to dive into something called the Samarth Vani. It's this incredible spiritual path that's all about one thing, figuring out who we really are and finding true liberation. Let's get into it.
All right, let's start with a really powerful image from the scriptures. It's about a king who becomes an elephant, and he's just there, shaking his head, completely filled with regret for the human life he totally wasted. This isn't just some old story, It's a wake-up call about how precious this life really is.
And that image really sets up the big question, doesn't it? Why do we feel so lost in this world sometimes? I mean, are we a bit like that elephant? We're constantly chasing after things, money, success, you name it. But there's often this nagging feeling that something's missing, right? Well, this path says the reason for that is pretty simple. We've got a case of mistaken identity.
So, what is our true identity then? Well, the core idea here is that our soul, what's called the jiva, isn't this little separate thing floating around on its own. Nope, it's actually an inseparable piece of the divine, of everything, which is called Brahman. Think of it like this. There's one sun in the sky, right? But its reflection can appear in millions of little pots of water. We're those reflections. We're part of the same sun.
So if we're a part of the divine, why are we so confused? It all comes down to mistaking the clothes for the person. Seriously, our body is just a temporary outfit, a garment we're wearing for a while. But we get so obsessed with it. We think it's who we are. We spend our whole lives fussing over these clothes, completely forgetting about the actual person, the soul, that's wearing them.
Okay, so how do we start to remember who we really are? How does this journey back home even begin? It's not about complicated ceremonies or anything like that. It actually starts with something much simpler, a little spark that ignites inside the heart. And that spark is called devotion.
The word for this is bhakti, and it's super important to get this right. Bhakti isn't just going through the motions of worship. It's a feeling, an internal state. It's this deep, selfless love for the divine, for the source we all came from. It's something that truly comes from the heart, not something you can just think your way into.
And this love, this devotion, it doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. It's a process. It grows. It all starts with satsang, basically listening to spiritual truths and surrounding yourself with that kind of energy. That then sparks what's called bhav, these really good, warm, devotional feelings. As those feelings get stronger, they turn into prem, which is pure, unconditional love. And what's the final result of all that love? Daya, true, genuine compassion for every living being.
So you might be wondering, how is this any different from the love I feel every day? Well, there's a huge difference. You know how worldly love can be, well, a bit selfish? It's often based on what we can get out of it, and it can change or fade. But this divine love, this prem, is the exact opposite. It's totally selfless. There are no strings attached, no what's in it for me. It just is, and it only gets stronger over time.
So once that spark of devotion is really glowing, the person on this path usually has a realization. I can't do this alone. I need a guide. And this is where the spiritual teacher, the guru, comes in. Their role becomes absolutely critical.
And the teachings are really clear about this. Think about it. This inner journey is like trying to navigate a vast, unknown wilderness without a map. A real guru is someone who's already made that trek. They know the shortcuts, they know where the dangers are. Their guidance isn't just helpful, it's considered essential to make it through.
So what does the guru give you? What's the secret key? It's something called Nam, which you could translate as the divine name. But listen, it's so much more than just a word you repeat. It's thought of as the actual vibration of the universe, the creative power of the divine, all packed into a sound that the guru gives to you personally.
To really get how important Nam is, here's a great way to think about it. Imagine all the holy books, all the scriptures and philosophies in the world are like the branches and leaves of a giant tree. There are thousands of them. But Nam is the sap. It's the one life force that flows through the entire tree and gives it life. It's the single essence that holds the truth of everything else. Okay, so you have the guide, and you have the key, the Nam. Now what? Well, this is where the real work begins. The focus completely shifts. You stop looking outside yourself for answers. The whole journey becomes an internal one, a practice of turning your attention inward. And how do you travel on this inner journey? The vehicle is something you have with you right now. It's your breath. It's that simple. The main practice is called Swas Swas Sumaran, which just means remembering name with every breath you take, in and out. Your breath literally becomes the connection, the thread that links you back to the divine.
As you keep doing this, something amazing starts to happen. Your awareness starts to pull back from the outside world and begins to climb up through these energy centers inside your body. The path starts down at the navel, the nabi, then rises to the heart, the hriday, up to the throat, the kanth, and finally, it gets to the trikiti, that spot right between your eyebrows that people call the third eye.
Now obviously, you can't see this inner world with your normal eyes. The teachings say that this practice awakens a whole new way of seeing, a different kind of perception. It's called suratha, which is like the soul's own eye. Our physical eyes see the stuff out here, the temporary world. But this inner eye, the suratha, starts to see the eternal reality that's inside.
And what does this inner eye see and hear? Well, the texts describe it in incredible ways. They talk about experiencing this profound, divine light. Sometimes they say it's as bright as infinite suns. And it's not just light. There's also a sound, a kind of divine melody or vibration that's always there, just humming away, pulling your soul back home.
And all of this leads to the final destination. And here's the kicker. The goal isn't to get to some heaven way off in the future after you die. The goal is moksha, liberation. And it's a state you're meant to achieve right here, right now, in this life.
So what is moksha? The classic analogy is perfect. It's the moment the single drop of water falls back into the ocean and becomes the ocean again. Your individual soul, the jiva, just merges back into the divine source, Brahman. That whole feeling of being a separate me just dissolves. And the most mind-blowing part of this whole thing is that it happens while you're still alive. It's a living experience of total unity.
There's this amazing quote that just nails it. Die while you are alive. Now hold on, it's not talking about physical death. It means the death of the ego, the death of that little I that's always chattering away, thinking it's the center of the universe. When you die that death while you're still walking around, you break free from the whole cycle of birth and death for good. Okay, so if you reach this state, how does it change how you live your life? Well, it all comes down to your actions, your karma. There are two kinds. First, there's sakam karma. That's when you do things because you want a specific outcome. You're attached to the result. That attachment is what ties you to the cycle of rebirth. But then there's nishkam karma. That's when you act just out of love or duty without worrying about what you'll get back. That kind of selfless action is what sets you free. And that right there is the ultimate goal. The person who achieves this moksha while they're alive basically transcends the whole system of karma. They're not stuck in that endless loop of cause and effect, of birth and death, anymore. Because they've merged back with the source, they are finally, truly free. They're home.
So we've come full circle, haven't we? From that story of the regretful elephant all the way to the freedom of the liberated soul. This whole path is really a journey from not knowing who you are to finally realizing your true self. And it leaves us with one last question to chew on. What do you really find at the end of this journey? The beautiful answer from these teachings is, you don't find anything new. You just remember what you were